Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. It is NFL schedule release day. And I'll be quite honest with you. That is not generally run like Selection Sunday in the NCAA tournament. Not usually run like Selection Monday for baseball's tournament. There's generally some leaks that go on when we're talking about the NFL schedule. And while there is set to be a big schedule reveal this evening, multiple outlets are reporting they've got the whole thing. So I'm going to go with this. If they announce this thing on television tonight and it's completely wrong, I will own that as following the wrong leaders here. But this is not just one place that just blurted it out there as like a guest. It's now kind of pervased the internet, and people kind of understand what the Saints schedule looks like. So we're going to run through it, and I'll give my reaction to things real time because it is 2:03 right now. I started reading this at 1:58. So I've had 5 minutes to digest the entirety of the Saints schedule. So let's go through it pretty quickly. I know it's tough to listen and kind of follow along without it in front of you, but here's what we'll look at. Week 1, Saints will open up with the Panthers in New Orleans. I can't think of an easier opening for the Saints than that. Maybe the Panthers are significantly better. Maybe Bryce Young is significantly better, but there was not a worse team in the NFL last year. They've still got the same quarterback. The owner's still a disaster, and they're coming to your building. I can't think of a nicer open for the Saints. The next few are a little bumpy. At the Cowboys in Week 2. Home for the Eagles in Week 3, at the Falcons in Week 4, and then Monday Night Football in Arrowhead at Kansas City in Week 5. That's a run of at Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts at home, at Kirk Cousins, at Patrick Mahomes as far as quarterback goes. That is a bumpy go there early for New Orleans. After Monday Night Football, you come home and take on Tampa Bay. Then you've got a quick turnaround, still at home. Sean Payton's return to New Orleans with the Denver Broncos, a 7:15 Thursday night football kick in the Superdome. So the good news is that's the only Thursday night game that the Saints will play, and it's at home. So you don't have one of those crammed in weeks where you have to pack a travel day in there. They'll do it at home. In Week 8, you're getting close to Halloween here. They're at the Chargers. Week 9, at the Panthers. Then you're home for the Falcons, home for the Browns. That, to me, looks like the most gettable portion of the schedule. Jim Harbaugh, new coach there at the Chargers. Of course, Justin Herbert is good. That's not a layup. But then at Panthers, home Falcons, home Browns. That's a pretty gettable part of their schedule. And then you've got the bye week on Thanksgiving week, which is Week 12. You got to play 11 games out of the chute before you get to your bye. That is a little bit problematic. You come back after the bye, home game with the Rams. You're at the Giants in Week 14. In Week 15, you're home for Washington and Jaden Daniels. For those LSU fans interested in that, that is December the 15th at home, noon game on Fox, Jaden Daniels in the Dome. Here's a cold one. We always look for that. Real cold. At the Packers, Monday Night Football, December 23rd, right before Christmas Eve, in Lambeau Field in Week 16. That's going to be a chilly one for the black and gold. Then you come home December 29th for the Raiders, and you finish the season in January at Tampa. So the only cold weather, well, 2 cold weather games, at Giants in December and at Packers in December. So 2 cold weather games. Your bye week is week number 12, and you finish off at the Bucs. Okay, so as I digest this, I think it's important that the Saints tread water early if we're talking about trying to win the NFC South. Because after the Panthers, that stretch right there at Cowboys, home Eagles, at Falcons, at Chiefs is going to be difficult. And if you can find a way to start 2-3, I think you're okay. You don't really want to be 1-4 and heaven forbid 1-5, 0-5. And then you got the Bucs at home and the Broncos at home, who I think you should be able to play with, right? I mean, the Broncos don't have a quarterback. The Bucs, I don't trust what Baker did. So that stretch between October 13th and the bye week is where you need to catch up. It's Bucs home, Broncos at home, at the Chargers, at the Panthers, home Falcons, home Browns. If you can get to the bye week after 11 weeks at 6-5, then I think you're in good position. Off the bye, you're home against the Rams, who have been rebuilding since that Super Bowl win. Obviously, no more Aaron Donald. You're at the Giants. I don't think anybody thinks they're going to be great. They've got Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones, if he's still the quarterback then. At the Giants, home for Washington, rookie quarterback. You catch the rookie quarterback late, which is not exactly how you want to do it, but it is a rookie quarterback for Washington. Then at Packers, tough. Home Raiders, certainly doable. And at Tampa, and you hope to be playing for something significant at that point. It's not as beneficial a schedule for New Orleans as it was last year. Now, the metrics will say it's the second easiest, but when you look at the quarterbacks that New Orleans played last year, even what they were set to play before the injuries happened, it looked really manageable. As I scroll through now and I see Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins and Patrick Mahomes, I see Justin Herbert, I see Matt Stafford, I see Jordan Love. I think there is a little bit more to hurdle there. You do miss Burrow. You do miss Allen. You miss some of those really good players in the AFC, certainly, and that's a help. And I don't think it's a murderous schedule by any stretch. I do think it's a tough start for the Saints. They've got to hit their stride at the beginning, in the middle, and then after the bye week, you got to close somewhat strong. So I don't think that the Saints are as necessarily dependent on some warm weather as they were early in the Breeze era, where it was just high flying and you had to get things done. I think they've been a little bit better as of late. They've got to run the ball better if they're going to play better in cold weather. I think they'll be fine in New York in early December. That Packers game, I would suggest there's going to be some cold weather. It's at night in December in Green Bay, and it will be cold. The bigger issue is that Green Bay is pretty good. So that, to me, is more important there than the cold weather. I don't think the Saints are quite the identity that they were once upon a time back early in the Breeze era. So I think 3 primetime games: at Chiefs on Monday Night Football, Broncos at home Thursday Night Football, at Packers on Monday Night Football. As far as the home games, you're at noon every single non-Broncos home game that I can see here, except for the Rams game that is in the first week of December. That's a 3:05 game. And then we'll see what they decide to do later in the season with flexes and whatnot if things get interesting. So you knew who they were going to play. You knew that Sean Payton's homecoming was coming. You knew that they were headed to play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. You also knew that Jaden Daniels was coming to the Dome. Now we know when all of those things are. I see the benefits here, and I see a few drawbacks. I think the start's a drawback. The biggest benefit to me is that you have a home game on your Thursday game. Drawback would be the bye being a little bit later than you would like. And maybe a Packers game being cold later down the road, but I think it's a pretty standard and fair schedule for New Orleans. I feel a little bit more concerned about the actual roster, specifically the offensive line, than I do the schedule. That's where my concern lies: is the offensive line, the roster as a whole, and the coaching to an extent. The schedule, I think, is just fine. So I'm a little bit perplexed at how all of this information gets to the internet before the schedule is announced, quite frankly. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Surely there are some people that have that information that aren't supposed to be leaking it out that are. I don't know what the purpose would be there. You got any thoughts on that, Beck, on the fact that we're sitting here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we have the whole schedule and they're supposed to do an hour-long TV show to release the schedule later on today?
Yeah, usually the NFL are pretty good about keeping things within rank, but apparently that's not the case with the schedule. And I just saw this tweet from Jeff Duncan. He made a little graphic in terms of, since 2018, how many games of primetime, Fox 3 p.m. and noon the Saints have played. The Saints have played double-digit noon games including 2024, the last 3 years. Before that, they hadn't played more than 10 in I don't know how long, but they also have only had 3 primetime games the last 3 years as well. Before that, they had at least 4 or 5. So, and I'm kind of shocked that Packers game is Monday Night Football. I guess maybe there just wasn't really any other better options. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show the way that the NFL and the scheduling team felt about the Saints and what they think they're going to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers are a pretty national draw, and that's a primetime team. I don't know where the Saints marriage comes in here. The Sean Payton one's very, very obvious, but it is what it is. Honestly, I don't have strong feelings about this. I have strong feelings about the direction of the franchise. So that's where I am on New Orleans and their schedule. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.